Hello and welcome to the first episode of a new podcast, possibly old, called The Corona Sessions. Uh, the title came from this coronavirus that's going around, the COVID-19, and we're all stuck at home. And sessions because it's going to be about literally a session, like music. Um, and that's basically what it means, just music during the corona virus. Unfortunately, we are where we are, and that's that. But this is not a podcast about Corona. This is a podcast about music. And essentially, the idea came from listening to Devin Townsend's new podcast, which is, he calls it like the Quarantine Cast or something like that. And essentially, what he's doing is he's going over every single album he's ever made, and he's describing everything about it, and it's amazing. If you have any interest in Devin Townsend, even slightly, it's a trip. It's unreal. Love it. Each episode's like 2 hours long, which is crazy, but I listen to them. Like, I would listen to them again. I can't wait for another year to go by and then listen to them again. They're unreal. Love them. So he was doing this podcast about all the albums he's previously written. And currently I'm working on writing music during the Corona stuff just because I have extra time. And I said I might as well do something I've always wanted to do and write songs until their completion and then have some songs written. So that's what I'm planning to do. So instead of talking about stuff that happened in the past, I'm actually going to keep you up to date on the process of writing this album. Probably an EP. Honestly, if I get like 3 songs out of it, I'll be really happy. 1 second. So essentially, where was I? Yeah. So that's one of the inspirations behind this. The other one was the Trivium DVD that came out for the Shogun album, where they basically showed the entire recording, and in that recording they showed them at the pub, they showed them like their process of recording, they showed like fights they had. Like, it was a really like, you know, down to earth kind of documentary sort of half-hour kind of thing on them recording the album, and it was really, really cool. So I said that I always want to do something like that, and then the Devin Townsend thing gave me this idea to just do what you're doing at the moment, except update. Basically, I think it'd be a cool idea, and if someone else did it, I would definitely listen. I think it's really cool getting like into the process of what's happening. Just 1 second, just want to look at my notes here. Yeah, and the other reason I said I'd do this is for accountability. Essentially, like, I could easily say, right, I'm going to not waste this time, and I'm going to basically write some material and record some material, and then, then just not do it. No one will know, no one will care, and that's fine. Probably right now, no one will know, no one will care, but just forcing myself to do this isn't, like, I'm actually forcing myself to write music to actually do the process if I want to continue doing this as well. So they kind of feed hand in hand, and I think that's a good thing, and why not, right? Plus, like I said, I think it'd be interesting. I'm aiming for about 15 minutes, 10 to 15 minutes per episode, just so you know, on average, about maybe 3 times a week. Depending on, basically every day I write, I'm going to do a little podcast. Some of them could be 2 minutes long, and I might not put them up because of that. I might like just jam 2 episodes together kind of thing. So, yeah, let me just read my notes again one last time. So what I'm using is Reaper. It's a recording thing on a laptop. It's software for recording. That's not very interesting. And the other equipment I have is just an acoustic guitar. So that will be my equipment for writing all of the songs. And my friend is also going to be writing music. He'll probably come on this every so often, and even if he doesn't come on, he'll send me music and stuff, so I'll display it for you as he sends them in. And then, yeah, so you'll kind of hear me fully from start to finish, but then my friend, you'll hear like inputs every so often just to keep it interesting. And we will roll on with episode number 1 then, right now. That same friend that I mentioned in the introduction, he texted me one day and he said, "Lad, You have to listen to this band. They're doing a live YouTube stream. Like, they're unreal. Tune in, grab some cans, like, watch them. They're going to be unreal. So I said no, I won't. What I will do though, because YouTube is going to be, it's going to be live on YouTube, but then I can just watch it later, barring they delete the video. So what I will do is you text me some songs that you really like by them. I'll listen to them over and over again. I'll get to know the band, and then I'll look at them live. Because I kind of like to know songs rather than just looking at random. Like, I like to get into it, and to get into it I need to know the songs. So then I ended up getting drunk that night. He ended up getting drunk that night. He was he watched them do the live thing, and then afterwards he texted me some songs to listen to by them. And I was half drunk. He was half drunk. He was like, right, we'll watch this one on YouTube next. So we watched it on YouTube, drinking away. By the way, we're in 2 different countries, so we were doing this all over text, and that got like my creative juices flowing again. I was like, man, I haven't written music like all year. I really want to like actually buckle down, and by the end of this year have at least a song recorded. And then I was like, you know what? Let's do it. Like, let's do it, you and me. And then he said, not really. So that didn't really pan out. He said he might do something every so often, whatever. But it was fine. I was all inspired all by myself, so I didn't really need him. So that night I wrote down some lyrics. I had like this song idea that I really wanted to get done, and yeah, so I had like the whole song in my head, but I didn't have anything written down. And the song is about essentially 2 guys, and they're going out drinking. They don't know each other. They don't meet each other in the song, and they don't drink the same way. One guy is very much just out for a social, just, meeting Paddy down at the pub and saying, how are you, lad? Guinness, is it? Alright, I'll have one too, sure. And then going home, essentially having a nice little night for himself, and just going home. The other guy is like fresh out of work, doesn't like anything, just wants to get it all out of his system, and he's going out in the lash. He's ready to just pound back the pints, pound back the spirits. Let's go, as the lad says. So it's just following the story of their night, like parallel, but they won't intersect. They don't know each other. They could be in 2 very separate towns, and essentially it's kind of like, I think we've all been these people in our lives at some stage, and probably still are. But I definitely like to go out drinking to just have a few, and I also like to get really drunk. But I now live in New York, and I used to live in Ireland, and drinking scene in New York is very different than in Ireland. It's very, very different. It's a different atmosphere about it as well. So it's kind of like a love letter to like Ireland and kind of their relationship with drink, but also like my past relationship with drink, which I have no regrets about, and it's not in any way like a regret thing, or like a like a lesson learned type thing. It's just, I miss it sometimes, and I want to write a song about it because I miss it. So it's kind of like a love letter to youth, and also a love letter to Ireland, to just kind of express some of my feelings about the crack that can be had, and like the times I've definitely had over in Ireland drinking anyway. Lots of fun had, tell you that. Lots of trouble gotten into, but lots of fun had. So that's what the song is about. And yeah, so it's just about 2 lads going out drinking, 2 very different personalities going out drinking, and the song is in no way a judgment on either type of drinking. Just a fun little session song. And the album then that I wanted to write, basically I'm always kind of recording something on my phone, like riffs, song ideas, just different kind of concepts and stuff like that. So I said to myself, whatever comes to me during this like corona, like quarantine, lockdown, pause, social distancing, whatever you want to call it, like whatever kind of ideas come to me during those times, I'm going to actually fully commit to fully write the idea through and record it. And you don't have to release it, but just have it recorded, and just have the thing finished. Don't just have an idea floating around like you have for years. So that was the idea. So there won't be any genre. this one's a bit of a session song. I'm also working on another one which is almost like a tavern song. Like you'd hear like a lute player play. Like if you play the game Skyrim or like Oblivion and you go into one of the pubs, the game Fable, that kind of bard music, it's kind of similar to that. So it's like a different vibe completely. Yeah, so that's really all I wanted to say. And that's basically how this whole thing began. And that is what happened on the first day. Wrote some lyrics, had some. I'll sing a bit for you here now. So the lyrics I came up with were pints, pints. We're going for lovely pints, pints, pints. We're going for lovely pints, pints, pints. We're going for lovely pints, pints, pints. Would you pour me a big dirty pint? And basically that kept going through my head as I was drinking, and there is a reason why. They're basically the two lads. One is going for lovely pints and one is going for a big dirty pint. He's going to get wrecked. And it's kind of how it all sparked off then. So yeah, we'll move on to day 2 now then for episode 2 of the Corona Sessions. Welcome to episode 2. Jamming this into the one video / podcast just because I'm now on day like 6, so I just kind of want to jam out the first couple of days real quick. So essentially what you just heard is about the length of an average podcast. So day 2, I basically had that song rolling around in my head, had the idea, had the story. Now it's time to write, okay? That's generally what you want to do next if you're doing music. You want to write. So I was thinking, like, how do I want those lyrics accompanied? Do I want like a strumming pattern? Like, what do I want? Just a bit of bow in the background, I'm not sure. So then I was like playing away like I usually do on the guitar, and I'm playing this riff that I've played for years, and I mean years and years and years. And it came, like it was an actual written riff. It wasn't a riff that just kind of like randomly came messing around on guitar. So this guy I know came to my house, and he brought his guitar, I think. Yeah, I'm pretty sure, else he used one of mine. It doesn't really matter. The point being, I said, let's play a song, right? I think we opened a random guitar magazine. We said, like, let's use this scale and we'll both write a riff in this scale. So we learnt the scale and we went to separate rooms, could not hear each other play, and we gave each other, I think it was 15 minutes or 20 minutes, something like that. I think it was 15, and we just riffed over that or whatever, and then we met 15 minutes later. He played me his riff, I played him my riff, and then we like jammed both the riffs together to create one riff. And that's basically the riff that I'll play for you in a moment. And essentially afterwards I said, look man, I actually really like this riff, do you mind if I keep it? And he said, no hassle at all, like you can keep that, like I have no real interest in it, but if it speaks to you, man, it's all yours. And I thank that guy very much, because since that day I don't think a week has gone by where I didn't play it. I just really like the riff, I think it's class. So yeah, that is the story of the riff. And then I was playing it, and then I was singing this song, and I was like, oh my goodness, like this is crazy. It actually lines up perfectly with the atmosphere that I want for the song. But not only the atmosphere, but the timing of each like bit of the song. I was like, this is crazy. This is like meant to be like 10 years later. But yeah, so essentially that's what I'll play for you now. So this is the riff here. And it's like pints, pints. We're going for lovely pints, pints, pints. We're going for lovely pints, pints, pints. We're going for lovely pints, pints, pints. Won't you pour me a big dirty pint? And then like it'll go into the song from there. So yeah, I was just like thrilled that it lined up timing wise with and vibe wise with what I was looking for. And yeah, so that's basically what happened on day 2. And then I also thought of some lyrics to expand. So like how I thought of lyrics was I just thought the story, and I was like, what do I want to say about this person who is just fresh in from work and just wants to go out and get really, really drunk? I was like, will he have friends to visit, or will he just be like, everyone said no, so now he's just going out on the town to paint the town red by himself? Or like like, what's the story? So, when you start thinking of these sort of things, then lyrics will just pop up. They just will naturally. So, like, you'll even just tell the story. You'll be like, okay, so thinking nights, when that happened to me, like, what happened to me? Like, okay, me and a friend went out and then we went to a house party. I'm like, oh, maybe this guy can go to a house party. So yeah, past experiences were definitely drawn upon for both characters, and then lyrics kind of came out from that. And yeah, so now I'm just going to talk you through, like, kind of the process of me writing. And the process is different. So, like, ask anyone who writes music. They'll tell you, like, oh, this song just came to me. Like, I was just had the guitar one time and then, like, boom, played these chords together and just started singing this kind of lyrics about A, B, or C, and they kind of went together, and the feel and the mood was there, and the lyrics were there. Everything kind of just gelled together, and then that's like how I wrote the first verse, and then, like, I had to work on verse 2 and 3. Then other times you'll write lyrics and you cannot get music to go with them. Can't do it. Just doesn't happen. So then other times you'll have a riff, and then you won't be able to put like lyrics to that riff. And yeah, basically many different ways. But one thing that's very constant with me is my note taking. So essentially, I'll grab my phone, I'll sing into the phone, or I'll play a guitar riff into the phone, and then with singing it, I can then talk afterwards. So I can basically sing the lines from the song, and then afterwards talk about what I just sang. Like, here's the mood that I'm looking for, here's why I'm singing this. And then on another date, like a couple of weeks later, I'll listen to all the recordings and write them down. Because if I just have a pen and paper and start writing down lyrics, what will happen to me is I'll think of a full verse, and then I'll write down the first half of the verse, and then boom, just completely forget the second half. It'll just be gone out of my brain completely. So I have to, like, my brain works a lot quicker than my hand. So that's why I just speak straight away. Like, as soon as I think of it, and I'll just whip up my phone and just speak into it real quick. And I'll show you an example of that now. So this is an example of what I am talking about. And you're necking back the bottles like there's no tomorrow, and for you, sure there probably won't be. In other words, the lad is going out to get tossed is going to be so hungover tomorrow that there's no tomorrow. And yeah, so that's basically exactly what I said. I sang the song, and afterwards I explained what the lyrics meant, and that's basically it. I'm just going to look at my notes and see if I missed out on anything. Yeah, that's basically it. If you wanna tune into the next episode, it'll be what happened on day 3. Probably just day 3. If it turns out it's really short, then I'll add day 3 and 4. I did start writing this a week ago, so I do have a couple of days in the bank, but I have been taking notes down on each day, like, as I was doing it. Just because I wanted to kind of, again, for accountability, I was kind of writing a diary. And then I thought, like, why not just share the diary? Just say what I was doing, and then it'll help me continue to write. So that's basically what happened. If you are looking at this on YouTube, then you found me on Nert13, NEART13. And if you found me on Spotify, you found me at the Corona Sessions. So they are 2 places you can find me. I'm not sure if I'm on, like, iTunes or whatever Spreaker puts you on, I'm there. And yeah. So thank you for tuning in to the first 2 episodes and the introduction. Join me. I want to say join me Monday. Monday I should have the next episode out. And yeah, see you all then.